Hey, you know what? I was watching a show. This is recovery oriented. So there's this thing on Netflix called Black Mass. Yes, interesting. I like the guy. The director does a lot of horror, good horror. I thought so. It's just a story, but it has a lot of AA in it. Recovery. So they're at a meeting. There's no one there. It's in this island, and there's two people, but they mentioned something that I'd never heard of. They they mentioned something I heard of RR, rational recovery, which is like cuts out the idea of the higher power and everything and presents it more in a scientific manner. You know, the reliance on. But then they mentioned something, and I wrote it down. Addictive voice recognition technique. Yeah,
Yes.
I've never heard of that one.
I've 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 thought of it before when you've mentioned the parasite talking as you, because it reminded me of what they say, the addictive voice recognition. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then though, what's going to recognize the addictive voice is also the addictive voice. Yeah, yeah.
Policeman thing. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I was wondering if they had that little uh footnote in there.
I
No,
think I could be wrong, but I think the idea is like the addictive voice and more like the authentic self. So it's like one is you and one is not you, I think, but I don't know enough about it to be sure.
yeah. You see that? See how the bondage of self moves, so to speak. Yeah. It always takes form where the seeing or the awareness is, so to speak. And then when you become aware of something, it sort of leaves that and it takes the form of being the one who's aware of the something. Yeah. So when the defeat of self is revealed, yeah, through the eye of awareness, the head jumps in and says it's the one who's seeing the defeat of self, which is the act of selfing. Yeah. You see it, right? Yeah. So
Yep.
it's like it's not a cha, it's a cha cha. It's got two moves, not a cha cha cha. It's just cha cha. Cha isn't enough. It's going to turn into something else, a waltz or something. Could be an authoritarian march or something. It's going to turn into something, but cha cha. So there's you become aware of stuff that you weren't seemingly. There's an awareness of stuff that stuff wasn't aware of before. Yeah, it actually was, but it was hidden, in certain files. And then life or someone else uh, brings into that field of the action figure, like you're a selfish asshole or something. Yes. And then that whacks the thing. And now you're starting to see the selfing almost as if it's taking form finally. That moves right to the seer of it. Yeah. The idea of the seer of it. So this is why uh, in recovery, self-knowledge avails us nothing, though knowledge of self is very valuable. But self-knowledge, so they talk about the self-knowledge concerning what's going to happen if you drink again, and it still doesn't work. But I had sort of expanded to all knowledge claimed by self. Yeah. So that's sort of the thing. So there's a knowledge of this activity that's not of you, and then that's claimed by that which is not of you. Yeah. So, 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 yeah. So there's a lot of carcasses of what we're not in our lives that have been understood, diagnosed. The what do they do when they do an autopsy? They've been gone over and over and over again, but the point that we're missing is that they're dead. Yeah. The movement of the selfing has moved on. Yeah. It sort of got caught and then it just migrated. Yes. And so now you're looking at the dead horse, so to speak. And really, all you need to get is that it's a dead horse. You don't need, you don't have to go through tons of, you know, going over it and cutting and trying to see whatever. Basically, that which is presented as you, as the seer of all this new knowledge, is the old knowledge. Yeah. Yeah. This is humbly, I'm just sharing. You find out for yourself. Yeah. My feeling is that wherever the awareness seems to be, which is everywhere, but as an event, yeah, the selfing rushes over there and plants a flag and sort of claims the seeing of something, and it now presents itself as the seer. So this is the dilemma that people in recovery ran into as a community, which was self can't get out of self. It was revelatory. It's not in the book or the invitation that was presented, but it was a well-earned observation. Self can't get out of self. Yeah. So finally, there's a sense of seeing something. Let's call it the small s self. In Ramana, they talk the big S self is everything, but we're talking about the movement of being a doer, a thinker, a feeler, which is presented as a long-lasting, independent, separate thing. Yeah, that. So that gets noticed, and then the noticing of it gets claimed so quickly that the spirit of the selfing leaves the carcass that has been found out and is now in. Yes, yeah, yeah. Once it's seen as a noun, it sort of escapes. Yeah. You know, like in the movies, sometimes they kill the thing, but then the spirit of the thing leaves and it inhabits something else. This is sort of like selfing in a way. Yeah. If you want to have an illumination of it, like a visual. Yeah. So once you've killed the beast, you seemingly are the beast. Now, this isn't about we finally found the way to victory. This is just admitting this is all mechanical. You can't get out of it. Yeah, because you're not in it. Yeah. To get out of something, the presupposing is that you're in it. Yeah. This is the dilemma where there's a huge belief of the presupposing that we're in things, and then the need and the drive and actually the support of others to get out of it is readily available. Yeah. And a lot of times it fails because we've missed the point. We're not in it. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm talking about that which goes in and out of stuff, that in. We're not in that. Yeah. And the mechanicalness that's being presented as us is a defined, limited system. It has a ceiling. It's not like open sky mind. It has a ceiling. It's programmed. Yeah. It's not AI. It's not forever growing in awareness. It's programmed. And many of us have run into its dimensions where there's no giving. It's like a solid wall. It doesn't bend by evidence or conviction. It's just you hit the wall, it backs up, and then it just tries to get over the wall with another vehicle, like spirituality, addiction, drinking, making money, traveling, whatever, eating. Yes, it doesn't get it. It's like a little toy car that's been wound up, runs into the wall. It hasn't the ability to go around the wall. It just goes back and forth, back and forth. Yeah. This is what, as the Course says, this you should know. Well, in a sense, if we were talking in Course in Miracle language, we would say this you should know, that what you call you and all of your choices and everything else is more mechanical. Yeah. It's programmed. We talked about it a lot with the story out of the movie Moon. If you ever watched that film, it it's got a guy named Sam Rockwell in it, and he's shown in it's a little bit past, it's a little bit in the future where they've discovered the minerals that fuel all technology on Earth in the moon. Yeah. So now they're harvesting this mineral on the moon, and they have these huge machines and they have these giant swaths of ground that one person could run the whole thing. Yeah. So he is this one person that's running this mineral farm on the moon. Yeah. And he only has 5 more days left. He's been there for 5 years. He's got 5 more days left, and he has a little nook, which is his like little office, and he has pictures of his supposed kids, and he's a Boston Red Sox fan, and all this. Yeah, he has a whole program of being a person. Yeah, a certain person, and there he is, and all's going well. And then one day, there's something that happens at one of these little distribute almost like a barn for this mineral stuff, and he takes the little moon vehicle and drives over there, and there's someone in a suit, seemingly not moving. So he gets that thing and he drives it back to where he is. He goes in, he brings the spacesuit in, and he takes the helmet off, and it's him. It looks just like him, which is sort of surprising. Yeah. And then that thing that looks like him wakes up and now isn't surprised when he sees Sam Rockwell. And it looks exactly like him, the other him, because he knows something that Sam Rockwell doesn't know. And Sam Rockwell, as the program, is never going to know. Yeah. So then the new character starts telling the truth about what's going on. And he says, "How long you been here?" He says, "Oh, I've been here 5 years. I got 5 days left. I go back to Earth." He says, "Do you ever talk to your wife and child?" "No, that the radio transmission has never seemed to go through." Yeah. "Do you have any whatever?" And so he's starting to question. He says, "Listen, you're a clone." Yeah. So the thing that's a clone, and it's very clear it's a clone, breaks the news to Sam that it's a clone. Now, this is the interesting part. The clone that Sam is doesn't hear the message. The human programming called Sam hears the message. And therefore, the message has a different reaction than if it was from a clone to a clone, because Sam Rockwell has a huge manufactured program of distaste for anything like a clone. Yeah. And so Sam has a huge amount of denial and will not fucking accept the fact that it ain't Sam, that he doesn't live in Boston, that he's not going home in 5 days. Yeah. And so the guy gives him the knockout punch. He says, "Let's go down below. Have you ever gone down there?" "No, no." They go down below, and there's thousands of these clones that look like Sam Rockwell. Let's call it the Rockwell edition, like the Ford Pinto or whatever. So suddenly now he's completely confronted with this, still can't get it because it's not getting through to the clone. It's hitting the wall of the programming, which is Sam Rockwell. Yeah. Now, the beautiful news with us is implying the same imagery. Why waste any time trying to convince the human programming it's a clone? Yeah. Just bypass the human programming. Yeah. And talk to the clone and tell the clone, "Hey, the human programming is going to neuter every message I send to you that you're a clone." Yeah. So then the clone finally sort of gets it. Yeah. And it gets it not through hearing the clone, but hearing the message, it's not Sam Rockwell. Yeah. Because everything was getting filtered through Sam Rockwell. Everything. Yeah. This message got blocked and sent somewhere else, and it was going to continue to get blocked. And so the point is don't waste any time trying to convince the programming that it's not Sam Rockwell. Yeah. And also, don't mistake that its nature is your nature, because it isn't. The thing that you believe that you're choosing to do is more a mechanical brain reaction than it is you sitting there mulling it over and seemingly make a wise choice. Yes. So the quicker you realize, don't waste any time talking to Sam, the better off it's going to be, because Sam ain't going to get it. That's the point. You're not going to get it. David B isn't going to get it. Paul H isn't going to get it. Yeah. That's the getting of it. The getting of the message is that which you're not is never going to get it. Yeah. So a lot of interest going to what you're not is about getting out of what you're not as what you're not. It doesn't work. Yeah. The getting out of what you're not is the biggest in about what you're not. Yeah. So this is, I feel humbly, the way Ramana described it was that there's this presupposing. Now, people would believe it's them presupposing, but it's before there was a you. There's a presupposing by some activity, let's call it a mental activity, that the non-existent thing, which is a body, is the existent thing. And then suddenly, as the existent thing, it wants to get salvation for the existent thing. Maybe that's a better house, whatever it may call salvation. And it says, if this is the case, and he was basically saying this is the case, that this is the presupposing before you wake up in this suit. Yeah. That then, if this is the case, your spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing this mistake. How can they destroy it? Yeah, this is meant to be to wear. It's not meant to be thought about, this message, but to wear it. Yeah. Is something where we're sitting confused about subject object? Is something is confused and interprets the subjective event of this experience is being had or is attributed to an object. Yeah. And if that's the case, and if you see that programming clearly, and that's the duality, and then it's greeted with not to. You're not that. You're neither the object nor the subject. Yes? That's not a starting point to find out what you are. That will happen. No worry. You looking for it is the problem. Yeah. When you see you're not that which is looking for it, and the looking for it stops or just sort of wears out or turns into like a dribble or something, then there'll be a lot of finding out about what you are, because you won't be trying to find out about what you are as what you're not. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. That's why the duality is presented as not to. So using the duality and then recognizing the notness of it is the key. Yes. And if you don't believe there's a world called duality that we're on, obviously, this is more like a dream that's being projected. Yeah. And therefore, this where it's being projected from is giving its nature or aspect, and that nature is duality. Yeah. Because the light that's being seen this way is coming through a bifocalness. Yeah. Which is the subject object dilemma that we are. Yeah. It's like having a salt and pepper thing in the same thing. Yeah. You can't seem to separate the two. So hopefully there's been enough failure to bring it to a point where it works and it turns into success, you know? So like you ever hear of the yin and yang thing? So yin and yang is a beautiful movement. You can't really say what is what, but it's a movement. And one of the interesting qualities of it is if yin goes to an extreme, it turns into yang. And if yang goes into an extreme, it turns into yin. So many of us, if you want to call your spiritual seeking yin, it's gone to an extreme. And it's just pregnantly waiting for a recognition that true success is all the failure of trying to arrive at where you already are, or trying to become what you already are, or believing you left and you have to return to what you've never left. Yeah. All of those attempts are really the success. Yeah. Because it will be a convincing that you're never going to get it, not because you didn't do enough or you're not good enough or you weren't with the right teacher. You're never going to get it because you are it. Yeah. And this is going to reverberate through a lot of stuff. It's going to reverberate. That little yodel sets off a lot of avalanches. Yeah. It does. It really does. Where, as Kathleen and some people have been saying, they're learning without realizing they're learning, coming to these Zooms. Exactly. So things are happening without the sentinel, that which is what you're not, surveilling everything, like Sauron looking for the fucking ring. Yeah. This whole heist is happening right underneath its nose, so to speak. Yeah. Because we're losing interest in the seeker. Yeah. Through the futility of the seeking. Yeah. The futility of the seeking. Without the seeking giving life to the seeker, you'll see the paper mache-ness of the seeker. Yes? Yeah. There's not enough light to have it appeal opaque. It'll be more translucent. You'll see through it a lot. Yeah? So you cut off the blood supply to this idea, which is at the point of thinker and then thoughts, because the thoughts are being used to imply there's a thinker. Yes. So doing and doer. So now it's getting cut off. Yeah. You're not taking the doing to imply a doer. You're seeing that doing is being used to imply a doer. You're seeing it as awareness. Yeah. And hopefully any little bit of lifting that needed to be done here has been done by the non-duality understanding, because it should explain what's going to happen or how things are going to shift. You'll have an explanation that will allow the construction and the destruction to continue without any disturbance. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when something feels like it's going to die while going through something, you have a clarity that you're not that which thinks it's going to die. Yeah. It's just that simple. So I would imagine the people that were so weighed down by it got so much relief, because their life would have been dark nights of the soul. And basically, they just had one dark night of the soul. Can you imagine? When I read that, it was dark night of the soul, not dark nights of the soul. My head has said I was going to die thousands of times. Thousands of times. I've heard it say you're going to die. Thousands. I mean, not 5 or 10, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Yeah. And it acted as if it was going to die. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Uh, How it dies in us is loss of interest, literally. It's almost like a tumor on our side that we think is us. We've never entertained the possibility we could remove the tumor because we believe it's us. Yeah. And therefore, our whole life has been trying to fit around this fucking tumor, getting tailored shoes, I mean, shirts and everything, and going to a weird website on the dark, of meeting a woman with the exact same tumor on the other side. So you can have some kind of, it's just insane. But then one day someone says, hey, that thing you have growing on your rib cage? Oh, yeah, me? No, it's a tumor. It can be removed. What happens, though, to the head when it's presented with that solution? It looks into its closet and sees all their tailored shirts that have the tumor. Everything, the whole life it seems to have constructed is fitting around a tumor. It doesn't see that's a good. It doesn't see the solution to having it removed. Yes, we tell a story with the the pooper scoop. It's the same story. The head gets invested in being the seeker, and to be the seeker, it can't find. Yeah, finding is going to zilch the seeker. So the seeker, in a sense, is based on cognitive dissonance. The last thing it wants to do is find because it's a threat to the seeker. Yes? It's just that simple. Yeah. So I humbly believe that the program, you can't tweak it that much. Yeah, I would rather just lose interest in it. Yeah. And then as long, like, to me, in this life, I had to be confronted and go into a program of recovery. Yeah. Now I wasn't gun. It didn't seem like I had any drive to do that. So life fucking put an end to something, and knowing something, it introduced me to a way of life the same day. Yeah, and then that big thing was taken care of, and then all these other possibilities became available. You know what I mean? All of these possibilities, thousands and thousands. So yet here in this streaming, first things first. Yeah. If I would have heard a non-duality while I was using, I would have tried to use it to get out of responsibility. Yeah. I would say, oh, there is no me, so I wasn't the one that robbed that pharmacy or shit, whatever. Now the judge probably wouldn't go along with that, and I'd end up in jail. Yeah. And then I would be sitting around talking to people in jail about non-duality, thinking I know non-duality. Yeah. But luckily something happened first, and I was right when I heard the message, because I had attempted to get out of self as self most of my life. Yeah. Now I was clear I wanted to get out of something called self, or people call it the ego. I didn't know I was trying to get out of the ego as an ego. I just didn't see that, or I don't even like that term. Because isn't there, when people describe ego, they describe it as if they have one or they've lost one. What is that sense of ownership before the ego? I say that's the sense of self to me. Yeah. I find more relief there than in getting rid of something that I thought I had. I just do. It just works better. All right. So yeah, so I read this thing. I went on this long rant, but this addictive voice recognition technique, and not knowing about it, but the way he described it in the thing, I could see that there was recognizing a movement of self, what we call self, but the recognizing the movement or the reactions to the movement was another movement of self. Yeah. Replacing one with another, but they're all from the same strain. Yeah. I lose complete interest in these things when I see that. Yeah. A technique doesn't seem to have any value if it keeps reinforcing. Yeah. And I believe, as Ramana said, that most of what we do without knowing it as this formation of being a person is reinforcing the idea of being a person over and over again, no matter what it is. So seeing the impossibility of that person getting out of the person, yeah, stopped my eyes from moving so much. And when they stilled and stopped, I saw things clearly. And at least this shit came to an end. Yeah. And the futility was brought about a hallelujah, not a frustration or a blaming. I felt fucking great that nothing worked. Yeah. Could you imagine if something worked and you were still included? This is like we say in AA, you drop, an alcoholic in heaven, it's hell in a day. Yeah, it's a fucking, this is what would happen. If we arrived at the infinite, it would probably suck somehow. Yeah. So it's nice to dispense this idea now so that you can live sort of in a lighter manner. Yeah. Not that everything will get great or not, but you'll travel through whatever life has in store for you. And the action figure is a limited edition. It's not like it's not going on and on. It thinks it's an unlimited edition, but it's a very limited edition. Yeah. It believes when we pass away, it's going to take off. It doesn't go anywhere. It's a voice coming from the brain. Yeah. So, all right. I hope that doesn't make sense. I don't know. But watch the movie Moon and see if you, that's what I got. Yeah. And I have I'm not connected to Sam Rockwell or anything else or the production of Moon. I just throwing it out there. Yeah. I think it's a great parable, really, literally. I don't know if it was meant to be like that, but that's how I saw it. Yeah.
I'd
All
like
right.
to see that. Yeah. So the shape shifting that happens, I like that, the way that you painted that, of just there's an event happening and then there's the seeing of it and then the claiming of it, like then it just shifts to the observer. So
Yes.
there's that shape shifting, and there was a seeing of that over and over again. And like you said, then there's like a loss of interest in that, and in the loss of interest, there's a freedom, for life to spontaneously, express outside of that programming that keeps hijacking everything.
It's not actually a freedom because the awareness has never fallen for anything.
Right. It just keeps shape shifting over and over, and you see
It's
it.
a head with an opposite head, or a head like two-faced thing, a dualistic presentation. Yeah.
Yeah.
When unobserved, it's you. When observed, it's not you, but then that which is it, then it takes the appearance of the observer,
Right.
previous you, and now you're like the authentic observer. I've seen the unauthentic. Yes?
Right.
Yeah.
And when you see that infinity effect, then you just the any kind of, it gets held lightly.
Yes,
Doing its charades.
because the awareness has never partook in any of this. It's a field in and of itself that things are appearing in, just like the sky. The sky doesn't have a bias about clouds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't like cumulus and doesn't like the stratus ones. Yeah. No. It's open space, lets everything happen, but whatever happens in it hasn't ever left any effect on the sky. That's our nature. Now, The other dual natures are not us. Yeah. And one wants that if one is revealed, it switches to the other aspect. And
Mm-hmm.
now you have found your authentic self, or this is insane to me, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So now you've been spending this currency and then you realize it's unauthentic and now you turn it over and now you got the authentic currency. It's the same fucking currency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
So this is about the awareness does not become the observer. There's
Mm-hmm.
observing, there's awareness, and then these shenanigans appear in it. Yeah.
Right, right, right.
Now, because we started in this bias, we're looking through a self-centered lens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what's going on we don't see and we miss out. But, you know, even non-duality is like the braille to the blind man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You feel yourself through it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
introduces something, those things hit somewhere, they move something where, and then there's ahas or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
uh you don't have to go through every card of a house of cards. All you have to realize it's a house of cards by seeing one. If there's
Mm-hmm.
one card, then it's a house of cards. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
maybe you need to see three or four. Someone only needs to see one. That doesn't matter.
Mm.
Whatever it is, if your head is in the tiger's mouth already, what is it's not essential but seemingly needed is going to be offered sooner or later. So now
Mm-hmm.
you have satsang
Mm-hmm.
to
So
support
it's
the so that the glance or the seeing that we're not the seer or the seeing, yeah, is enough, and there'll be a shift. At least the scale of interest and attention will fall into awareness
mm-hmm.
more than what's appearing in the awareness. And that's your fucking that's the uh that's the anchor here that allows you to travel lighter through rough seas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
But
idea of being an observer, being a pure unintentional witness is held as being a body. You're not that.
yeah.
That's in the mix. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you describe it, it would be observing. It's not an observer or a witness, as if there's one of us that's witnessing all of us else. Yeah.
Right.
No,
Right.
it's not of us. It's not a thing or a noun. Awareness,
Yeah.
giant field. Yeah. There you
And
go.
and
Allows
then you have the
whatever appearing in it to sense and feel other things appearing in it. Yes.
yeah.
It allows whatever is appearing in it, like for one cloud to run into another cloud and feel it. Yes. The awareness is like the illumination, the livingness of it all. And then
Mm-hmm.
tons of shit's appearing based on that, the I am, but thinking they're separate, long-lasting, independent fucking things. Yeah. And it's the lock on this imaginary door is it's a dualistic lock. Yeah. So you see one aspect of it, you don't see the other aspect of it. Yeah. When you see both aspects of it, that's the non-duality. That's not two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the not two. You see both. It's sort of as if you had a guy named Bill and there's a guy that was masquerading as Bill. Yeah. And you never see them in the same room. And so, oh, there's Bill and there's Bill. You can't tell the difference. But then when you get both of them in the same room, there's a negation. Yes. Of either it's neither this one or that one. Being, yes. Yeah, in a way. So the self-inquiry is sort of like
So
that.
like
Like what says who am I? Awareness isn't saying who am I. Yeah. Awareness isn't that which is speaking and saying, who am I? And that which answers is not awareness. These are appearances in awareness. So when the emphasis on the appearances weaken by realizing you're not the one who's asking, nor the one who's asked, yeah, then the sense of presence gets felt, yeah. Then that unseen hand of awareness, you feel it in a sense, yeah, yeah. That's like the braille to the blind man. Yeah, we're led by the understanding, and then you feel sort of like the fish having that moment where it recognizes it's in water. Yeah. Or and then there's a recognition that everything that was appearing in the water was constantly being emphasized. Yeah. At the expense of the sense of the water. All right. You've had it, your run, and it was time for the fish to realize it's not a fish. Does it continue seemingly as a fish? Yes, but it's not a fish. Yeah, and it never was a fish. Yeah. And now you're moving more in the field, not at the things appearing in the field. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then you learn about what you're not. I didn't know. I thought I was doing all of what I'm not. I did. And I taught a lot of spirituality was stop something. Stop doing that. Start doing something else. Yeah, it was. And there was just an assumption that I had a lot to do with a lot of shit I had nothing to do with. Literally. And this has been an educational rude awakening after the rude awakenings. Yeah. Yeah. Because I now, with this seed assignment, I run into a lot of people that the awakeness is obvious, but to them, they don't think so because they had a belief that something that wasn't them, because they believed was them, would have been changed by that huge awakening. And when they it wasn't changed, they feel like they've disqualified themselves. Yes.
Yes.
I have to do more. No, that's that. The point of that is to realize it. It's like, you ever hear of the Enneagram in Sufism? The
Yeah.
Enneagram.
Yeah.
There was people here that were people would come around and they present retreats on the Enneagram or whatever, like a 4-day thing. Yeah. And the Enneagram was a way of breaking every action figure into sort of basically 9 types. Yeah. So like there would be Ford, Chevrolet, Peugeot. Yeah, there would be 9 things that produce all the cars. And the assumption was you're a car. Yeah, you're one of the cars. So, and then they'd have these 2 aspects they call sex and something that would give more meaning to it. So it'd be like 24 things. And everyone's there at the seminar, and at the break, they have now realized by listening, and the people had told them they were a 6, so they had numbers. So everyone goes outside for the break, and now they have an extra identification instead of a relief from identification. Now they have I'm a 6, and I should go well with an 8 if you have a sexual thing called a 4 or something. It was insane. Where the whole point of the Enneagram, I felt, was to show you that what you think is personal is impersonal. You were built in Detroit at a certain time in a certain factory, and that's why you drive the way you drive. Yeah. Yes. But I was there. I was there. I was listening to all these conversations. They had now they'd added a number to the identification. Yeah. A very aware number. Oh man.
But if
Just
they
get
had held
it over and over again.
if they had held it as learning about the functioning of not them, that would be
Definitely, that was the
right.
point. Someone had
Yeah.
to be there to give that in.
Yeah.
It should
Yep.
have came with the package,
Right. 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 Yeah.
but no one said shit. So now
Yeah.
people left with one more digit. That's the last thing you need is more
Yeah.
numbers. Yeah. So this is why the important, like one of our friends here, she loves to do stuff like chanting. This isn't about not doing that. It's about having an understanding that whatever seems to be happening, the head is claiming it to and using it for its narrative. Yes, because a lot of times we're being affected as this event without us knowing it. So we're just attempting to shine a light on stuff that I didn't hear anyone shining a light on. That's the point. Yeah. So chant away, yoga away, Tai Chi away, swim away. Yeah. But recognize doesn't mean you stop doing what you love. You recognize you are not the doer of it. Yes. How wasn't a great amount of your joy as a kid was in the doing? It had nothing to do with a doer. It took a while for the brain to grow into that. You were just doing a lot, fucking having a great time. And then suddenly there was a doer and you shouldn't be doing. And it went on and on and on. Yeah. So there you go. Anyone let's yeah.
Good
Kathleen.
enough.
Yep.
Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
Oh no, that was just, you were talking about the the house of cards and the avalanches, the kind of key in a lock moments, and something is revealed, and the disqualification thing. That's like it's a tactic of the programming in a way, because it's a way to garner interest and attention again.
Yes.
Yeah, because there
What
was
hap-
a you said something a while ago that kind of hit me in a weird way. You were talking about those times where there's something, you were talking recently about how, say, you were having days that seemed like eons, right? That
Yeah.
recently, like so there's these almost musical passages of spontaneous movement where whatever something's expressing, and then a while back you said something like, and then when something dries up, when one of those movements dries up, you'll know, there'll be a trusting that you're in good hands.
Well, yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I'd been having like an interesting period for several months really of some of these movements, and there was just everything was held very loosely. You were still seeing the selfing showing up or whatever, the whole thing, but none of it was it was kind of whatever. It didn't matter if it was there or not. There wasn't an identification with it. And there were these movements, but then there'd be suddenly at different times there'd be almost a drying up, and there'd be a really like a feeling like the identification again, but there was no problem or attachment with that. It was just do the programming doing its thing, moving through its motions and its days. And then and then whatever, again, you just fall back into awareness, and another movement would have, there were these oscillations like that. But then at some point there was, like you're talking about with the disqualifications, it was almost like a little whisper in the ear of that thing, and like amazement that the programming is still doing some of the same stupid fumbling things that it does, just based on its programming, that you would have thought would change, right?
Yes.
And
Because it
that,
was your programming. It's not your
yeah,
program.
yeah, it's just programming, but that it's almost like that's the whisper in the ear, because the identification, if it happens with that again, I mean, I guess it's just even seeing that, right? That process, seeing that whisper.
Yes, you see that
Yeah.
also. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything that's seen, in a sense, goes away,
Yeah.
but
Oh
the
yeah.
seeing never does.
Yeah.
And after a while, that becomes, you get a flavor of that.
Yeah.
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 Seeing everything that comes and goes. Have you really collected a thought this month? Probably not.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I had one great thought on Tuesday. No, yes,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it comes and goes on and on and on. But
Yeah.
what is it? It's like that idea of the screen in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in the movie can change, but the screen doesn't. Yes.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The screen is
And the
untouched.
movie
Yeah.
wouldn't be seen without the screen to appear.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is sort of like going to a lot of movies and showing appreciation to the screen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yet, and yet sometimes it just seems like that aperture or whatever seems like more open, and other times a
Of
little
course.
less so, and
Yeah.
yeah. I
More
mean,
open and more closed in a field of allness. Yeah. So
correct. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
how much are you gonna start? Your huge belief in opening and closing is gonna
Right.
get.
Squash.
It's gonna be like the strongest, hardest rock is going to get worn down by water.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
So there's
So
almost like a subtle interest still there in a weird way in like the opening and closing. That's, I guess, just getting it
yeah, and
worn
it's not
down.
your interest. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how this is a way what appears and what arises and departs is not you.
Yeah.
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 Your whole life appears and arises and departs. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
It's not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
So
that. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
it doesn't mean as a you now live the other thing. No, there's a loss of interest in the whole idea of you.
Mm,
Not you as David or Paul, but you, period. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
There's a loss of interest in it. You're not hoping to get a better you. You've realized the futility of the better yous. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
As a you've realized it. Something changed the way your program saw it, which was frustrating and just do more and go better. You've just fucking something has disarmed me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And because it wasn't me that disarmed, it stayed disarmed. Because a lot of times things will happen that catch your head with its pants down. And so
Mm-hmm.
when it attempts to write the show that it claimed it, you saw it. You saw it. It was way off fucking fiddling around with Monday or Thursday. Yeah, and then it rushes and tries to, but you caught it, So I'm saying I don't know how many times this event where you are is going to be catching it or needing to catch it, but there is going to be a finite point where something that is completely stable will stabilize for this volatile experience called Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it may not be what you call you, but it'll be a floor that you're standing on. So instead of it just has an effect. It affects the action figure, and this is the value of it here. There's no value in being awake to awareness, as awareness. There's value where we seem not to be awake to it. This is the value. Yeah. So we are all awake because we aren't all. Yeah. Awakeness is the fact. And this event can seem to be awake to that fact or can seem to be asleep to that fact. Yeah. Or as you said, open or close, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of that goes on quite a lot, but it doesn't change the fact that we're awakeness.
Yeah.
You believing it to be true doesn't change the fact. It doesn't make it more of a fact. Or you believing it's not true doesn't make it less of a fact. It's a fact. Yeah. And this is what happens. you start seeing, see, I had it in one experience that was very painful. No, not knowing it, there were two facts in the action figures life. I was a real addict and a real alcoholic, and I could not manage, or whatever was, could not manage my life. Yeah. It led it to be unmanageable. Now, these were facts that I lived in denial of for many, many years. I was the expression of denying those facts. Let me tell you something. It didn't work out well. It has worked out well now, but the denying of it or the defiance against it didn't work well. You know, it was sort of like someone told me, you're not going to win arguing with reality. Yeah. So in this seeming reality, there were two facts that I wasn't responding to. I was responding to them with denial and everything. And that was, I was a real addict, alcoholic, or I had that and that what was managing my life was causing my life to be unmanageable. It was just that simple. And then suddenly something happened and I got aligned with those two facts. And I'll tell you, if this world is a way, whatever way you want to call it, and this is the easier, softer way, yeah, is to align with facts as best you can. Yeah. Yeah. Just it just goes better for you and others. I'm telling you. So, yeah, yeah. But the beautiful news is it didn't matter only as an experience, a fleeting one called dreaming. That's where it mattered. And because I was in it, it seems to be super real. But as a fact, contrary to another fact, it never got even close to arriving there. Yeah. So the the fact that I did not believe I was awake did not change awakeness at all whatsoever. Yeah. And the fact that I think I'm awake doesn't change awareness at all. Yeah. This is the beauty of it, literally. In a sense, you can have a great joy in your irrelevance. Yeah. This is, to me, a healthy recognition of irrelevance. Yeah. I have it here during the day. There is people on the other side of this fence. Yeah. They have no idea. Yeah. There's no Chinese TV show that's zeroing in on me with a with a drone, following all the meaningful things I may do. No, the closest neighbors to have no fucking idea and no interest. Yeah. So basically, almost no one in the world has to lose interest in you. They don't have interest in you. You're the last fucking. It's like those people that were Japanese that didn't know the war ended. So they were in their caves in those islands in the Pacific for 5 or 6 more years. Yeah. The war's over. No one's subscribing to your newsletter. You know how those people on YouTube or wherever they get like 1 million hits and then the next month they get 10 and their life is over. It's like excruciating. It's like death by a thousand non-clicks or something. It's insane. It's best to know you're pretty much irrelevant right now. It gives you a lot of room to move, actually. Yeah. Do you know what someone did? No. Do you know they're divorced? I didn't care if they were married. I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you. Anyone wants to share?
Thank you, Paul. I can just say that I can vouch for your neighbors having no idea who you are. I remember we went to a yard sale around the corner from Paul's house, and I had on a Zen Bitch Slap t-shirt. And his neighbor, I think he's known this lady for a long time. She's like, Zen Bitch Slap, what does that mean? So I just look at Paul like he might as well answer better than I can. He goes, it's a state of mind. And I was like, oh, great. I have the answer now to that question whenever I have those t-shirts on.
And then they said, why don't you come at 4 and we're going to start drinking.
Yeah, that's what they
Oh,
said
boy.
next. Yeah, they have absolutely no interest in that state of
I
mind.
said, you wouldn't want me to come there because there won't be any stopping drinking. I
That's
know, it's
funny.
funny. Yeah.
It's true. I just wanted to vouch for you that it's very true.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Insignificant in his own neighborhood.
I know. That's right. But the prophet is never recognized in their own village. Maybe in their own household. Who knows? All right. Anyone? I think I saw a hand. I think Mr. Stamps, William Stamps, come on in.
Yes, unmute, William.
We can't, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Thank you, Eddie.
yes.
I was thinking recently about sometime you talk about our seed assignment, our karmic seed assignment. What is it that goes through a karmic seed assignment? If there's no person, what would go through a seed assignment? What would be a karmic seed assignment for who?
Well, there's no seat, but there's an appearance of a seat. And there's no person, but there's a person appearing to sit on the seat. And that's his seat assignment. And because he may have certain genitalia, so that gives him the name of a he or a she. So there's no seat, there's no assignment, but there's a seat assignment. Yeah?
I'll have to think about that one.
Yeah, think about that one.
I have a little sort of prayer that I say at night, and I just wondered if I could comment on it. I say, there's nothing to get, there's nobody to get it, there's nobody to give it, and there's nobody to receive it. That this is it right now. Does that sound a little bit familiar?
Well, if it's working with you, that's great. Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah. If
that-
it's working with you, if you feel something or that
Yeah.
brings you a sense of ease, then that's great.
It
Yeah.
sounds very comforting.
Then I'd record it and
Yeah.
listen to it. No, really. If you find something that works for the action figure,
Now we're talking about not having an existence almost, or almost we are. I mean, having no existence. So if there's nothing to get, there's nobody to get it, and there's nobody to give it, and nobody to receive it, we're coming back to zero. We're coming back to nothing.
yeah, but what we walk through is receiving, getting, giving, like this.
The
But
bottom
there's
line
no
is,
one to receive, but there's a lot of receiving. There's no one to give, there's a lot of giving, you see? It doesn't make sense to the mental logic. That's the good news of it. Yeah. Remember the statement that supposedly was attributed to Lord Buddha. I have no idea, but it's a nice one. So it says, events happen, deeds are done. So obviously, if there's no world or there's no person, how could there be events and deeds are done? They're not, but events happen and deeds are done. But there is no individual doer thereof. Yeah. So there's all this doing going on, but there's no one doing it. Yeah. It's not a negation of the doing. The doing is going to negate itself quickly. You're going to stop doing things. Yes. Everything comes and goes. Everything. Why would you want to hasten something's leaving when its nature is to leave? Period. Yes. So everything comes and goes, and this and that, doing and not doing, seat assignments, da da da. Yeah. But there's no one that has the seat assignment. There's no one, doesn't mean there's not a pantomime or a light projected dance of someone in a seat. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So therefore you start, everything isn't, the mechanicalness leaves a great space of artistic expression. Yeah, I find. So like if you ever read Rumi and Hafiz, these Sufi poets, they're amazing to me because they can capture the uncatchable with poetry. And even when it's translated, it still gets through. Yet obviously you get a sense that they were super whatever clear, yet they were meeting the beloved. Well, how could they meet the beloved? Or who was there to meet the beloved? They forsook all of that stuff and just enjoyed the expression of meeting the beloved. Yeah. And all this stuff. And that way of expressing is so beautiful. It has I like the way it can enter this activity here. Yeah, it gets in such a beautiful way, and it's so profound. Yet it seems to be so lyrical and simple, but it's very profound. To me, that's a beautiful artistic expression. And yet there is no seat and no one who has an assignment that's sitting in the seat. Yes. But yeah, you can dance with an appearance just as much as if it was real. Yeah. And so it's the joy of dancing that is being expressed. It's not the reality of who or what you're dancing with. It's the joy of dancing. The joy expressed in the dancing, to me, is what's happening here. Yeah. I mean, there's a cactus, we talked about it. There's a cactus on our property. We've been here 7 years. I think it's flowered twice. Big motherfucking thing comes out, but it's only open for like a day or two. And if you're busy or you miss it probably. And then if you come by, you'll see a shriveled up thing that was the presentation, this incredible artistic presentation. This flower had a flower inside the flower. It was amazing. It had things, it was like the Hotel California for bugs. There was things going in there. They couldn't even take off. They had so much pollen on their legs. They were stuffed. They were like a kid went into the candy store, put too much in all his pants. It's just so, and then it was gone like in a day. You would think, why would you waste all of this for a production that only lasts a half a day? Let's just sit with wonder and awe about the mystery of this place. Yeah. Yeah. Why? You would think. Why? It was a huge event and it's a less. This is what I used to love the Tibetans, Buddhists. They'd go in a tour where they would take colored sand and they'd work on this mandala, which is a piece of art that teaches in Tibetan Buddhism. And it would take 7 days. And they're working like putting all these things and making this incredible thing. And on the 7th day, they just blow it all away just to show the impermanence of things. Do you not? But the expression of them making it and just concentrating, that was the point. That's the point. just because it could be blown away doesn't mean it shouldn't be made. It shouldn't, yeah. So this is I believe mind is manifesting and dreaming. And I don't see anything, there may not be a purpose to it, but I see a lot of artistic expression in it. A lot. I mean, a whole lot of production value in something that disappears in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? How many times have you seen a rainbow and then you went in and did something and it was gone? Yeah, rainbows don't usually stay for 2, 3, or 4 days. Yeah, because they're based on all these other things going on. And the whole idea of orchids, orchids take a long time to bloom, and then they stay a long time open. And then a lot of times when they die, they don't do it again. Yeah, they have to be in the right situation to grow again. So yet you see that orchid every day, and this is its own only performance. The plant's gonna die. Yeah. So I just found, like, in recovery, I realized they had this idea that you can have a higher power of your own understanding. And it was very quickly revealed to me, I don't want to have a higher power of my own understanding. That my understanding is pretty fucking small. I'd much rather have a higher power of its own understanding. Yeah. And let it tell me about it instead of me thinking I know what it is. Let me find out. Yeah. And that's a posture that if the action figure is placed in enough times, it becomes a fucking habit. Yeah. Yes. So, all right.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. And the prayer sounded great. Yeah. Yeah. Or whatever the statement. Do you ever hear of Nisargadatta Maharaj? He was a teacher. The famous book I Am That is sort of from him. Western people would be surprised after listening to Nisargadatta Maharaj. The next day when they went and he would come in and clean all the pictures of saints and gurus and light candles and go through the whole thing after he just talked about from the absolute for hours and there's no one ever. Yeah. And then they'd also be surprised that he smoked. And he said, hey, fucking throw the body a bone, man. Let the fucking body enjoy something it likes to do. Yeah. This is I'm into that flavor. I believe this isn't so, but that doesn't mean see, in the head, something isn't so means a lot. I don't have that meaning when I recognize something isn't so. It doesn't mean like you scoff at it or you put no attention or you just has no value. Yeah. I think something that isn't so gives a lot of leeway of what can appear to be so. Yeah. Yeah. So, yep. We try to throw a little artistic expression in the satsangs. Yeah. We don't kill you with a loving gaze or drown you out with a monotone or stare at you lovingly. We just joke around a lot. Yeah. I mean, I take it very seriously, but I'm not serious. I do. I take it extremely seriously, but I'm not serious about it. Yeah. So this is just the way it works. I found out a lot by the slow transformation of certain aspects of Paul that never seemed they were never going to move, so to speak. And if you took a shower every day, all day, whatever thing you think is solid is going to be worn down. Yeah. The water is going to change whatever you think is your nature or solidity. Yeah. So this is sort of like that. Satsang is like a shower. Yeah. You come in and then you realize you've never been out of it and then you leave in it. Yeah. And there you go. So, all right, anyone else, or are we gonna?
Yes, Paul, it looks like Zen La would like to speak.
Yes,
Zen?
thank you.
Zen La.
Hi, Paul and everyone. Big fan, big love. They said like I could raise my hand, but I'm unaware of how to do that on the program at this time.
Oh, it's okay.
Um,
We're hearing you.
cool. So I wanted to riff on something that you said earlier about, worldly activity and dancing. And it was an observation that I've had in my artistic pursuits that sometimes you can flower spontaneously and things just happen. And sometimes it feels like there's an appearance of a plan before the spontaneous action. And the plan itself is spontaneous, but the selfing appears in that spontaneity of let me do this on behalf of myself for this future occurrence and happenstance. And there's nothing here like trying to fight or land at a certain location, but there was a concern, I guess, that and I have a note here, let me just refer to it, that sometimes the seeker energy, the seeker thinking can be afraid of feeding the ego, even though the ego and the seeker thinking they're not even existent in the first place, like they have no long lasting energy. But I don't know if there's anything you can respond to that.
Well, yes, a lot of that's because the joy of that, that fear is in a way of when you hear that something is going on all the time and you don't get the sense of mechanicalness of it, then you're afraid that while you're doing something, you're doing it from the point of it already being claimed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You arrive after the claiming. So this is not about you stopping claiming or starting claiming. The claiming of whatever's going on is mechanical. This is what you notice. So when you see that it isn't you, a lot of the weight it carries gets lost because this idea of you brings the idea that it could not, it didn't have to happen. But we're saying this is mechanical. And in fact, it never happened. It's just claiming something. It doesn't make it so. Our not knowing it allows it to be presented as being already so. Yeah. And therefore, we start the game behind the 8 ball already. So we're just pointing this out. So, and you can see the personalness in that reaction. Well, I'm afraid that I'm selfing. No, the idea that fills that reaction, that I'm afraid that I'm selfing, is the product of the selfing. It's not, there's no one doing the selfing and there's no one being done to by the selfing. Yeah. There's self. And so the fear is of that which is selfing, to sort of, if it can't claim shit, it would like to limit you doing shit in a sense. Yes. So when it can claim it, you have some leeway. But when you've recognized it, it will try to trick you with, well, you can't do a lot of stuff because you're liking it so much. It must be selfing. It must be you. Yes. So there's a robbery, and then there's another robbery. But without you, without your oomph being used, it doesn't have the ability to affect you as much. So this is the understanding of the claiming being mechanical is based on seeing it, not stopping it or not owning up that you're doing it. It's awareness of something that's mechanically occurring. Yeah. consciousness or whatever life spark there where we are in a conscious contact with something triggers the arising of this mental activity, and it claims whatever's going on as you are the one doing it or being done to by it in some form or another. This doesn't make it so. Without seeing it, it really does make it so. So it's through ignorance of the process, or the programming allows the programming to seem to be a real, live, spontaneous, existing thing. Yeah. So.
And that seeing of it, it's a timeless knowing, yeah? Like it doesn't have to occur in an instant, but it's kind of always the case.
Yes, the knowing is there without it. Yeah, it doesn't have to be applied at the exact moment of everything. There's a knowing that see, I don't have to watch a machine that punches hole into paper every time it punches hole into paper to know that it punches holes into paper. Yeah. So I see it, awareness of it. And this is how it was brought up with me. I recognize something, not meaning Paul, but there was a recognition of something. I was in a seat assignment where this topic was talked about. I saw a lot of people coming from and at it with different directions, and I would see that there was a lot of disqualifying the basic fact that we were awake based on the unresponsive reaction to the programming from at a peak experience where someone says, man, I saw everything, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day, certain behaviors they suddenly believed was theirs hadn't changed. And then they disqualified the obviousness of the awakeness because of a misunderstanding. And one of the biggest misunderstandings is people think they're choosing a lot of shit they have nothing to do with, to the point where some people get led to hating themselves, or they're their own worst enemy. Now, I don't believe that. I believe there is a movement in us, or as through us, that could be construed as our worst enemy, but it's never, nor will it ever be us. Yeah. And so seeing things mechanically took out a lot of the like the sap of a tree. This sense of volition is a bedrock of the story of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. The idea of choice and that I'm the doer of everything. And I saw it so many times, and then something got clear that what people are reacting to as them not getting the message is never going to get the message, because it's not them. It's mechanical. And we try to emphasize that quite a lot here. Yeah. Because I didn't hear it being emphasized when I was going to satsang. I may have missed it, but I didn't hear it. Basically, I didn't hear much of what we're saying here now. That's why we're saying it here now.
This time.
Yeah. I didn't, I've seen so many ahas claimed and then turned into something else. Yeah. Yeah. An aha doesn't necessarily lead to a lifelong seeking for something. An aha could be very disarming if seen in a certain way. Yeah. I'm all into the camp of the seeing in a certain way. Disarming.
Can I
Really.
throw an aha from the past out? It may or may not help anyone.
Do what?
Can I throw an observation out that it might have the appearance of helping, but it might not actually help anyone? That a lot of the selfing and seeking is looking for fulfillment, joy, security, love, those types of things. So that could be a good trigger to find yourself, oh, am I looking for something that's gonna take me somewhere? And a lot of the seeking, like spiritual seeking, right? It's looking for a state. Let me land at a realization.
Yes.
But to realize, the unfulfillment comes from that seeking.
And you can also use it, though, to ask, well, who is it that's seeking. So it has a lot of value. So like Ramana Maharshi in one of his little booklets that it wasn't his, but they were presenting him speaking, and a lot of them are question and answer segments in print. And the one that's really stuck with me was from a little booklet where people once again bring up the question, is there free will, or is it all predetermined, or is there free will in predetermination? And Ramana answered it like he probably answered 1,000 times before. He says, well, if there's a sense of individuality, there is going to be a sense of free will. Yeah. And then he went on, which was incredible to me. Then he went and he said, by the way, the only value these questions have is to use them to point back to who's asking the question. Yeah, because there's a whole lot of assumption goes on before the asking of the question that needs to be addressed. So who is it that's asking the question? And he's basically said the only value all these questions actually have is that. That's their most valuable use, is to look at who is it that's doing the seeking. Yeah. So seeking has a great value, not the way we think, but it can expose we are not that which is seeking. There's seeking and seeking alone. Yeah. But see, seeking spirituality, in my experience, cast a large shadow as the seeker. When I was seeking drugs, it was different. I thought spirituality was very noble endeavor, and it was a calling above all other callings. So when the seeking in that level was really projecting a very large seeker, yeah. And I obviously didn't know that until I came to know it. And so this is, yeah, so seeking is wonderful. Yeah. Just ask who is it that's this, but it's being used or claimed by the head to imply a seeker, whatever the seeker is, seeker of money, seeker of sex, seeker of health, seeker of this. It doesn't matter. There's going to be a claiming, and most of the effects of that is going on without us knowing it. So we're trying to bring it to the light. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'll be back.
I have great faith in people's ability to respond. If that ability is been bound or held down, then that needs to be pointed out. It's not about producing a new condition of being able to entertain lots of possibilities. You have that condition already. It's just bound in some way. And I believe this is one of the ways, is taking ownership of some shit that we have nothing fucking to do with. It's mechanical. I saw the mechanicalness of addiction in this life. And through myself and others, I came to this conclusion that how did these people get my thoughts, or they're not my thoughts? And that when we're described as being driven, that implies we're not the driver. And so this flavor that the head was extinguishing at all times became very strong in me. And it's really bled through this fabric now. Yeah. So, yes. The peak experience was felt in that in something that could feel it. These things that are mechanical don't feel things. They react like a hole puncher of paper will react to paper punching holes. Yes, this is, you didn't realize that this call and reaction or call and response is programmed. Yeah. And we may be in a spacesuit, but we're not of the spacesuit. Yeah. So we're, polishing the spacesuit, trying to make it last longer, clean its visor, on and on and on. But really, the great relief from the spacesuit isn't getting it super great, but realizing you're not of the spacesuit. Yeah. And then you may just be able to accept that you're a Toyota instead of constantly demanding becoming a Rolls Royce. You just may be able to accept the simple joys of living instead of shooting for the fucking 11th dimensional stars. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. I'm gonna, let's have one more, but then I gotta go.
Okay, we got one more. Is Eric? Come on in, Eric.
Oh, there's two. Oh, yes, Eric. All right, other Eric. Yeah.
How you doing, Paul? Thank you. I had a clarification question. So when I'm still in the point where I'm kind of being the hall monitor of just kind of my mental space, and so I'll do a self-inquiry where I'll ask myself, what is having this thought? And I find myself involuntarily with some thoughts saying, with the intention, what is having this thought, I catch myself saying, what in me is having this thought? And it's not something, it's not something I'm trying to do, but it's a difference. And
Yes.
I've gone more into putting my attention into the two different phrasings of the question. And I'm wondering if they come from different spaces or they're just from the same thing and I just shouldn't worry about the words of it.
I think they're the same thing, that they're two different statements coming from the same thing. Or let's say they have the same flavor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Remember, that which is asking, who am I, is not you, and that which responds is not you. Yeah. You're not using it to get clear about one at the benefit of the other. It's a negation of both. So that which is asking, who am I, is not what you are, because and that which is going to ask, or that suspended, not saying anything, is also not what you are. To me, that's the beauty of self-inquiry. The two faces of self get inquired about. Yeah. You're not either. You're playing. You're not either of those faces. Yeah. So the two faces of self get inquired about. One's the inquiring and the one's the inquired. Yeah. So they're both not you. Yeah. Yeah. So just do what you're doing. It's gonna, because something is moving you that's not expressed by the movements. Yeah. And the faith is in that which is moving you, not in the movements, because they may be useful and then they won't be useful. Yeah. Things will work and then they won't work. But the movement of it is going. The movement is like you're in the tiger's mouth. That's the movement. In other words, you're not going any other. Once you're in the tiger's mouth, you're not going anywhere else. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So what movements you do while getting digested by the tiger are going to be useful, but at a point, no. But the movement is you're getting sucked into the tiger. There's no, yeah. And so like when I was in recovery beginning, I did the serenity prayer quite a lot. And I liked the we serenity prayer to get out of the I, the me. Helped a lot, helped a whole lot, a lot of times, because I needed a lot of help. And then I just stopped one day and I didn't do it. I didn't say I have to stop. I just stopped and I didn't do it. And now I love the prayer, but I don't say it as a prayer anymore. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what happens when you're in the tiger's mouth. Now, you can see the tiger mouth in recovery. I've been in the intestinal tract for 37 years, pretty much 36 years. When the fuck is it gonna fucking get done with digesting me? It ain't, yeah. This is the dance, yeah. I'm in the tiger's mouth, and the rest of my life, I'm gonna be in the tiger's mouth. Hallelujah. No, yeah. I don't care I don't want a map. Am I in the liver area or the kidney? I don't care. I just know I'm in the tiger's mouth, and I don't have reverse. Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah. So nice to see you, Eric. Yeah. Yeah. Hat or no hat. So, all right. I got to get going, I think. I have to eat food, eat. I always go eat food. And Amelia keeps saying, eat. We know it's going to be food. Yeah. This is the difference in Italy. Italy, they don't say, I'm going to take a shower. There's a taking of a shower. Yeah. There's a eat. It's like, you don't have to be specific. Food, it's basically, it's assumed that it's food. Yeah. Unless I haven't met many cannibals in Italy yet, but who knows? And that would be considered food too. Anyway. All right. I'm saying, hey, Shannon Corkery. I see you, Shannon Corkery. I see you. Remember, you're a lifetime member of ZenBitSlap.com, Shannon. All right. Kerry, nice to see you. Are you in your new house yet? Yeah? No.
No, not yet. It probably won't be till around the first of the year, I'm guessing, like January. Yeah.
Oh, great. That'll be a great time on the Zoom. We should have a
Right.
We'll
No.
give you can give it you can direct us in a walkthrough.
Paul, my face is turning red. I appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome. But that would be cool. I'm gonna plan on that if we're still alive. You'll take us through the whole new house. It's great. That would be cool. William Stamps.
Just send us the address.
You are a lifetime member of Zen Bitslap, William.
I appreciate that.
You are. No matter what you do or don't do. Yes. And there's a lot of fringe benefits. I can't tell you what they are. You'll have to find out. But they're abundantly many. James Olson. We've got Steve in San Diego. Steve, I'm happy to see you, my friend. Steve is a man willing and ready to do service. I ran into this patch in recovery where people would call me to do something, and then I'd get ready to do something, and they'd call me and go, oh, you don't have to do it. Thousands of times. It was great.
That happened to me.
Yeah. I was willing, and then I didn't have to do anything. Pretty nice. Ernie. Susanna W.
Thanks. It's my first time here, Paul.
Oh, Ernie.
So,
All right.
Yeah. First time I saw you. I saw your video on YouTube yesterday, so I thought I'm gonna hop in. It's like, yeah. So it looks like it rings a bell somewhere deep inside. So yeah, I thought I'd join. Yeah.
Oh, great, Ernie. Thank you. I love to see people getting their bell rung. Very good. Yeah. Come back if you like. Yes.
Yeah.
Susanna W. How many more people do you have to meet Amelia? Come on.
I have lots, as many as she can handle.
Jesus
Never
Christ.
ending well.
You gotta give her, just give her just straight Irish.
Well,
Yeah.
these two are Irish.
I know. Just keep feeding her Irish.
And they're both related. It's crazy. To me.
I know,
Oh,
to you, exactly.
yeah, it's crazy. I'm so grateful for her. She's really helping. Oh, God. She's doing for me what I can't do for myself, as they say.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
grateful. I
And
don't
they
like.
love her. Love her.
Oh, great, great.
Yeah.
Well, she's hard not to love.
That's what that exactly. She's the perfect person.
Yes,
Thanks, Susanna.
yes.
You're welcome. You can
All
call
right.
me with any complaints. I'm your HR.
Yeah, well, Zen La. Nice to see you. Annette, Lindy, phone number, Ellen Bennett. I know Ellen, I think, pretty sure. I think we got covered everyone. Hey, thank you. Thank you for a lovely evening. Yeah. Kathleen, as always, Kerry, everyone.
Thank you for a lovely evening.
I'll see. Oh, there's Hari. She just dropped in. Oh, that's Ellen Bennett. I forgot. Hari, nice to see you. Yeah. Hey, yeah, we'll see some of you tomorrow. And yeah, there you go.
Thanks,
See you.
Paul.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Paul. Bye now.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.